Bet the Breeders' Cup with the DRF app. The Daily Racing Form app is a highly rated, powerful tool that makes handicapping and wagering fast and easy, putting you in position to win big at the races. Register today to double your first deposit up to $250. Get the DRF app now. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF Race of the Day for Saturday, October the 31st. Race number 9 at Belmont Park. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 3 Bold Ruler Handicap. A field of 6 have entered. You can download free Formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them and handicap along with us. And I would urge you to also read Dave Grenning's race advance, because the 3 Wendell Fong is also cross-entered in a race at Laurel Park on Friday. And the 6 Fat Man came up with some muscle spasms, and he might be scratched.
Yeah, we'll see what the field ultimately looks like. I feel like it doesn't matter about Wendell Fong entered Friday at Laurel because, Dan, I think he's running Thursday at Belmont, and he was entered main track only in races that were off the turf, and he was not scratched. So I think he's running there. I don't think you'll see him on Saturday. We'll see about Fat Man.
He's entered everywhere, the 3 Wendell Fong, but it looks like he won't run in the Bold Ruler. And we also have to mention that this racetrack could come up very, very wet. It's been raining in New York on Thursday, expected to rain into Friday afternoon. And I guess the less the merrier as it pertains to a Timeform US pace projector for the 2 Share the Ride, who set the pace last time out in the Grade 2 Vosburg, was run down by some nice horses, including Breeders' Cup Sprint Brown Firenze Fire. This Timeform US pace projector will update automatically once scratches are official, so visit timeformus.com after those scratches are made official. But Share the Ride could get to the lead. If there's no Wendell Fong, he might be gone.
I mean, it does feel like his big advantage in this race, Dan. I mean, he really does look like the only speed in the race. He ran a triple-digit buy or 2 starts back. You know, I guess with the early advantage here, he's a horse that you have to take pretty seriously in this race.
The lack of pace could work against the number 1 Mihos, who was a stakes winner as an early 3-year-old. His last performance, though, I think might be a little bit better than it looks on paper. It was his first start off of a short layoff, and it was a race where the pace just didn't come back.
Yeah, I actually feel that way about his last 2 races, Dan. Last time, you're right, they went this distance. He was off a little layoff there. They went 1-2 around the track. The longest shot on the board, wired the field from the rail. Majestic Dunhill, who's also back in here, showed surprising early speed in that race to get right up on the lead. I felt like he might have hung a little bit in that race. I actually felt Mihos actually ran deceptively well in that race. I thought he also ran deceptively well 1 start prior at Saratoga, where the same thing happened to him, a rated pace in that race. It did not come back for him. And then when you go back to his prior sprint before that, that was in April at Gulfstream. I realized it was a while ago. He ran really well that day over this distance.
So it's all about whether maybe he could get a little bit of pace up front and whether he'd appreciate some moisture in the ground. Let's watch Share the Ride's recent race. It was the Vosburg, and he was the expected speed in this race. It took him a while to get going out of the gate. He made the lead. You see him down on the inside. He's just not as good as horses like Firenze Fire and Funny Guy. This was a solid enough performance for him to finish 3rd. And if he gets to the lead in here on the class drop, he could be tough to deny. He handles a wet track also.
Yeah, I mean, the pace is again, it's his big advantage. He was obviously no match in that race right there, despite getting a clear early lead. This field isn't as good as that one, so I guess he's supposed to be a little tougher if he gets the 7. I don't know, Dan. I know that he can win. I don't want to totally dismiss him because he should be clear on the lead. I just don't really trust this horse.
Wendell Fong, we expect to be scratched, so we move on to the 4 Archcat, who's just a really likable horse. He's won 13 of 37. He handles a wet track with no issues. And his most recent race, I think the winner of that race, my boy Tate's a very nice New York bred. Now, the rest of that field I have questions about. Archcat had a pretty solid pace to run at. He was sort of a 1-paced 3rd. On his best day, he's kind of a listed stakes horse, and he has enough tactical speed to work out a trip at a price.
He does. I mean, there are some things to like about him. He obviously didn't run well last time as the favorite. His start prior to that was pretty good, though, Dan, at your track, Laurel. That was going 7 furlongs. He beat a couple of nice horses in that race, and Lochte and Eastern Bay. So that race makes me want to consider him a contender in here. His trainer did win 2 New York bred stakes races here at Belmont last weekend. So he's, shipping in with a hot hand right now. So maybe that's another thing to like about this horse. I don't know if he's good enough, but this is not a vintage running of this race.
Let's watch Majestic Dunhill's most recent race going 7/8 of a mile. Mihos also in this race. And we talked about how the pace held up. That's Lenstar, the winner on the lead. Boy, Majestic Dunhill had every chance in the pink silks on the outside. And it looks like he's a sure winner here. At the 16th pole, Mihos trying to get into it on the outside, the number 2. But this is kind of Majestic Dunhill, isn't he, Mike? He finds ways to lose races. He hasn't won now since November of 2018. At least that race came over a wet track.
Yeah, I mean, I was just very disappointed in that race. I mean, I want to give him a little bit of credit, Dan, because, prior to that race that we just watched, he was a dead one-run closer. He actually showed a little early initiative in that race. I did not care for the way that he, failed to get by and win that race, because to me, he was supposed to win. But he did run a 97. If he can get close to the pace again in this race, I guess it gives him a real chance to win.
The number 6 Fat Man is the morning line favorite at 2-1 based on his last 2 races. Now, they were during the Gulfstream winter meet where you're in triple-digit buyers with his victory in the Grade 3 Hooper, and in this race, a nice placing in the Grade 2 Gulfstream Park Mile. Here's the Fat Man on the outside in the yellow silks. He's going to get up in a second, and that's the best he's going to do. But boy, Mr. Freeze ran a hole in the wind that day. He's a nice horse, Mr. Freeze. He'd come out of this race to run 3rd in the Oaklawn Handicap with a 98 buyer, and he's heading to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. But remember, it looked like this horse tied up the other day, and he might not start.
I mean, we'll see if he runs here. I think you have to take him pretty seriously if he runs, Dan. Obviously, the last 2 races that he ran, his first 2 starts of 2020, are the best races of this horse's life. I mean, he ran really well in both of them. So I think you have to question, where has he been? It's not, like it's a good sign that he went away off the 2 best races of his life, and he's been away that long. I think he'll probably win if he comes back and runs one of those 2 races, but I don't necessarily trust him to do it. And it's not, his trainer, I think, is really good. It's not like Sweezy has good numbers at all off of long layoffs like this.
But let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 3 Bold Ruler. I think with the scratches, Fat Man would have found a nice spot if he runs in this race, and he'd be my top pick. If he doesn't participate, however, I just think that Share the Ride's pace advantage might be too much to overcome. So those are the 2 I'm keying in on, the 6 and the 2. You're a fan of Mihos. You think he was compromised by his last 2, and he might very well have been. I'm just concerned that he might be compromised again by the lack of pace.
I'm concerned as well, Dan. We'll see if it works out for him this time. I probably didn't give Share the Ride enough credit just because of his pace advantage. I should probably have him in there somewhere. I just wonder how good he is. Mihos, listen, I just feel like he's going to be an okay price in this race, and I'll give him one more chance because this is just not a strong field, Dan. I like him, and I like the Fat Man.
It's the Halloween race of the day, the Grade 3 Bold Ruler. It's race number 9 at Belmont on Saturday with an approximate post time of 4:57 Eastern. Good luck.
Bet the Breeders' Cup with the DRF app. The Daily Racing Form app is a highly rated, powerful tool that makes handicapping and wagering fast and easy, putting you in position to win big at the races. Register today to double your first deposit up to $250. Get the DRF app now.